worst part about this whole Nick Shirley going to Minnesota and exposing everybody is that the news is painting it out like Nick is the bad guy in this situation. And all he did was literally call out that $9 billion is missing. It's not like a little bit of money. $9 billion, that's 9,000 millions. That is an unfathomable amount of money to just be up and gone, and no one's gonna take accountability for that. They want to, like, it's so funny how the left always wants to make it seem like, oh, there's no victim blaming. You should never blame the victim. Okay, well, you're blaming the American people who are clearly the victims of this. Like, this is just one state. Basically one city, but yeah, one state. $9 billion. How bad could it actually be? Like, let's start asking the real questions. They're like, what are you doing out here? It's not confirmed fraud. I'm like, dude, if you go there and call and you can't enroll the kids, and then you can't get inside and you can't talk to anybody, and if you try to, they push you out, that's not a real business. That's literally the opposite of a business. It's just right in front of us. Come on.
Facts. We got to talk more about this rampant fraud because it's just that absolutely rampant. And I want to dive into a couple of clips. The first one being something that I found quite interesting involving one of the places that Nick Shirley stopped at because they had a phone number that was on the building. And I want you to take a listen to where that phone number actually went to. Check it out.
So guys, this is absolutely mind-blowing. So I was watching the most recent video by Nick Shirley exposing these daycare centers. Now, they're going daycare to daycare, and the next one that they go to is called Sweet Angel Childcare. This is where they show up to. And this is the business right here. Sweet Angel Childcare in Minneapolis, Minnesota. Now, listen to where this phone number goes to when you call this childcare center. Just wait for it.
Thank you for contacting the Office of Governor Tim Walz and Lieutenant Governor Peggy Flanagan. Our office is located at 130 State Capitol at 75 Reverend.
Oh my God. I'll do it again. Sweet Angel Childcare. It goes to Governor Tim Walz's office. Why is a child care center directly going to the office of the governor? Make it make sense. Hold on.
Thank you for contacting the Office of Governor Tim Walz and Lieutenant Governor Peggy Flanagan.
If this is not a direct link to Tim Walz and these fraudulent child care centers, I don't know what else is. Bro, this is crazy. I'm just in shock right now. I was recording a YouTube video and reacting to this video, and I was like, let me call and look up their Google reviews. I was just looking up their Google reviews, and I was like, let me call this number. And I call it, and it goes to Governor Tim Walz's office.
Shout out to the conservative immigrant. You can see his @ right there on the screen for TikTok. Shout out to the conservative immigrant. But as you heard there, going straight to Timmy Walz's office, which is absolutely wild stuff. Now, I want to get into this reporting from CNN because, of course, you know, we all know how they do things, all right? And they're not happy with Nick Shirley going out and exposing this alleged fraud. And so they sent out a reporter who's supposed to be doing what Nick Shirley is doing, but I want you to take a listen to what she actually did, and I think it backfired in a major, major way, because first off, I want to show y'all how many dislikes are on this video. You guys see this? 61,000 dislikes versus 4.3K likes. And I'm going to add to that dislike count 61,000 dislikes. Jeez Louise. I don't think I've ever had like a negative like to dislike ratio on any single video. And to have the like to dislike ratio that bad, ooh, that's terrible. But of course, it is the Communist News Network, so what do we expect? And take a listen to this so-called journalism from CNN.
We're from CNN. Can we talk to you? This is MAGA YouTuber Nick Shirley back at a daycare in Minnesota.
Called him a MAGA YouTuber. You know, now that's used as like a derogatory term. A MAGA YouTuber. This is a MAGA extremist. This guy's a MAGA. I need to get me some merch with. I need to make some merch with MAGA on it. We need to start claiming that loud and proud. All right, you're not gonna turn that into like some type of slur, which that's exactly what Democrats are doing. MAGA YouTuber. Okay, and what are you, ma'am? Because you're not a journalist. You know, so I'm confused. Nick Shirley's actually doing your job better than you are doing your supposed job. Anyway, carry on.
He alleged was a fraudulent facility in a now viral video.
People are going to say this is a left or right issue, but no, fraud is fraud. And so I'm not out here trying to put a twist on things.
Shirley's viral video, released over the weekend, in which he says he's uncovering tens of millions of dollars in fraud at Minneapolis daycares run by the Somali community, was retweeted by Elon Musk and Vice President J.D. Vance. In the video, Shirley tries to open locked doors and talk to people at various daycares he claims are frauds.
Did you come during their normal operating hours when you came to visit?
I came at 11 a.m., I believe, and I also came the following day later in the day. The point of it is not whether or not I came at the right time of their operation hours. The point is that blacked out doors, they can't give you any information. You call that number, no one answers. I wasn't trying to go inside, and there should be a way for somebody to actually be able to call that number and somebody to be able to answer. These aren't real businesses.
But surely you don't think a daycare should just be unlocked. You shouldn't be able to just walk into a
There
daycare.
should be a reception.
No, every daycare is locked.
Their doors are locked.
And so, okay, you bring up a fair point. Then why can't they actually give me information how to enroll a child?
Bingo. All right, you want to go with that narrative? First off, you should be able to be buzzed in, right? There should be an intercom system. I've seen daycares. I know someone who owns a daycare, right? There's a buzzer. There's a camera where they can see who's at the front door, right? You hit the button. They look at the camera, they can talk to you through the intercom, and they can buzz you in. It's not very difficult. Once you get in, there's typically a front desk area where you can ask whatever types of questions that you need to ask. You can get any type of information that you need to get, but he was not provided with any information. So how does that scream legitimate business when none of that is happening, and then you call a phone number and nothing happens there either? That doesn't scream legitimate business to me. Businesses are in business to make money, and a daycare service is there to take care of kids, and that's how they make money. So if somebody is there to sign up a kid, why aren't you taking the time to render services for that individual so that you can make money? But of course, this is CNN so-called journalism, and I'm happy. I saw a report that said CNN year over year declined by like 21% or something like that. So I'm happy to see that they're steadily declining. Fox News actually rose a little bit in their viewership, while MSDNC, aka BS Now, and CNN, they actually declined. So I'm happy to see that, because this isn't real news. This isn't real journalism. This is propaganda from the Communist News Network.
Law enforcement has been investigating fraud in Minnesota for several years. Both Attorney General Pam Bondi and FBI Director Kash Patel said on social media they've indicted dozens of defendants. DHS has posted multiple videos of agents they say are conducting a massive fraud investigation.
Do you think that federal law enforcement hasn't done enough? I mean, they would say, look, these fraud cases have been going on, but they've already done like 80 indictments. The cases have been going on, for years.
And why did I show up one day in Minnesota and go to all these daycares, no children, they're receiving millions of dollars. We uncovered nearly $110 million in fraud in one day.
How do you know that all the allegations that you're making are true?
How do I know that they're true? Well, we showed you guys what was happening, and then you guys can go ahead and make your own analysis.
That's why they're allegations. You don't know if they're 100% true, but if you have a little bit of common sense, you can add up 1 + 1. It's always going to equal 2. If it walks like a duck and quacks like a duck, by golly, it's probably a duck. It's not going to be a bear. Okay? It's not going to be a grizzly bear coming at you. By the way, if there is a grizzly bear coming at you, you better get out of Dodge. But if it's walking like a duck and quacking like a duck, it's probably a duck.
And then you guys can go ahead and make your own analysis.
We're coming so we can make our own analysis. Are you 100% sure you're true?
Yeah, I am 100% sure I'm true.
What does that even mean? She said, "Are you 100% sure you're true?" What does that mean? You see what I'm saying? Like, she seems to be frustrated because he's exposing this, and now she's asking silly questions like, "Are you 100% sure you're true?" What does that mean? Can it? Listen, I was never the greatest student in school, okay? I'd be the first to admit that. So maybe there's something wrong with me. If anybody knows what that means, please explain it to me in the comments, all right? Are you sure you're true? And I love the way that he answered it the same way that she asked it.
So we can make our own analysis. Are you 100% sure you're true?
Yeah, I am 100% sure I'm true.
CNN is looking into Shirley's claims.
Hi, my name's Whitney Wild. I'm a correspondent for CNN.
We reached out to several of the daycares featured in the now viral video. Only one daycare facility answered and said they are a legitimate business.
Have you seen?
You see what I mean? You see why I'm happy this network is declining steadily? That's what you call journalism? CNN investigated the fraud reports. Hey guys, we see you have a daycare that Nick Shirley reported on. Are you doing any fraud there? No? All right, click. See guys, they said no, they're not doing any fraud. That's what the Communist News Network calls journalism. Investigative reporting. Yeah, we're just going to call these guys up and see if they are doing any fraud. As if anybody who is doing or is committing fraud will actually admit to it. Like, come on now, bro. This is silly. This is absolutely silly.
That the videos, purporting that some of these daycares don't have kids inside.
Minnesota Republicans say despite the new focus from the Trump administration, they have been sounding the alarm on fraud for years.
We have talked about fraud. We have gotten stories. We've tried to push this forward every way that we can.
At the daycare where Shirley showed back up, a stream of children walk inside.
You're saying that this is a fraudulent daycare. There's kids being dropped off right now.
Yes, the Commissioner of Children literally said a week ago this place was closed.
Did you know
They're
that?
showing face right now.
A viral video, disputed claims, and their full fallout remains to be seen.
Dozens of fraud cases that DOJ is touting began during the Biden administration. Back in 2022, the U.S. Attorney's Office for Minnesota announced 47 indictments for this massive fraud scheme. Since then, they've indicted more than 30 more people, and in total, they have secured at least 56 convictions. Whitney Wild, CNN.
So, are you sure you're true? Well, are you sure these allegations are true? You just admitted at the end of your segment that there have been people arrested due to fraud, but during the segment you were trying to discredit Nick Shirley, knowing that there already have been people arrested for fraud. So how does that even make sense? Man, I can't wait until the Communist News Network completely caves in on itself. Not literally, right? I don't want anybody getting hurt from a building caving in, but I mean just the organization of itself, right? Just the company, I should say, itself, just caving in, right? This network is absolutely hot garbage. Honestly, I think YouTubers should just be put on TV at this point. Because we could do a hell of a lot better job than this. What was this type of reporting? What was that? Literally, I could do a better job investigating this report better than she could have. I tend to agree with Nick Shirley. But just to be fair, I could have done a better job than her. She asked, "Are you sure you're true?" My goodness, man. You can't make this stuff up, boy. I tell you, man. Anyway, make sure you guys hit that like button for the algorithm. I would greatly appreciate it. Leave a comment down below. That also helps out. And share this video. I mean, my goodness. You literally can't make this stuff up, man. This is what that network calls investigative journalism. Oh, my goodness. Stay safe out there, y'all. Peace and love. I'm out.